He doesn't leave because he's cold. He leaves because he's done. The Sigma male doesn't announce his exit, argue for closure, or explain his silence. He simply disappears when he realizes the connection has become one-sided, draining, or fake. To most people it feels sudden, but for him, it's been building quietly. Every lie, every broken promise, every moment of disrespect, stacking up until the switch flips, and he's gone for good. You'll never see him begging to be understood. He's already spent too long observing the patterns, testing the energy, giving chances. And when he walks away, it's not about pride. It's about peace. His silence is his statement, and his distance is his answer. Because when the Sigma male finally decides he's had enough, there are no warnings, just absence. And that absence will say more than any goodbye ever could. This video will reveal the real reason Sigma males walk away without a word, the emotional buildup behind their silence, the discipline that replaces their feelings, and the transformation that follows when they never look back. If you've ever walked away quietly, not out of hate, but out of self-respect, this one's for you. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to UltraWise and join a brotherhood of disciplined minds who move in silence but lead with strength. Now tell me in the comments, have you ever walked away quietly and never looked back? The Sigma male doesn't leave suddenly. He detaches long before he disappears. When a Sigma male walks away, it always feels like it happened overnight. One day he's present, listening, helping, observing, and the next he's gone without a trace. But what most people never see is the quiet process that came long before the exit. The detachment begins in silence, subtle, invisible, and almost unnoticeable at first. He starts to pull back emotionally, not because he's stopped caring, but because he's realized that his energy is no longer valued. The same effort that once built connection now feels wasted. The same patience that once held everything together now feels heavy. So instead of confrontation, he chooses stillness. He observes the distance growing, but he doesn't chase. He listens to the tone shifts, the inconsistencies, the excuses, and he memorizes them. Every small disappointment becomes another quiet lesson, another reason to retreat deeper into his calm. People mistake his composure for indifference, but in truth, it's restraint. He's protecting his peace while deciding whether this connection still deserves his loyalty. The Sigma male doesn't explode, argue, or create scenes. He simply stops feeding what no longer feeds him. This slow withdrawal is his way of confirming what he already knows, that some people only appreciate presence when it's gone. He doesn't announce it because real strength doesn't need validation. He knows that closure doesn't come from long talks. It comes from clarity. So he builds his distance carefully, not out of revenge, but out of survival. His silence isn't coldness. It's healing in motion. By the time he's gone, his heart has already moved on. There's no anger left, no bitterness, no desire to return, just peace. Quiet, grounded, unshakable peace. Those who realize it too late will think he vanished suddenly, but the truth is, he was already leaving in his mind long before his body followed. That's the Sigma's secret. His disappearance is never impulsive. It's the final step of a decision he made long ago in silence. He stops explaining himself once he realizes his silence speaks louder. At some point, the Sigma male learns that words no longer work. He's tried to explain, to reason, to make people understand his perspective, but all it ever did was drain him. He realized that the more he spoke, the less they listened. The more he justified his actions, the more they twisted his meaning. So, one day he simply stopped. The endless explanations, the need to be understood, the attempts to prove his loyalty, all of it ended quietly. And in that silence, something powerful happened. His peace grew, his focus sharpened, his silence became his greatest weapon. People used to interpret his silence as weakness, thinking he had nothing to say, but what they didn't know was that he had already said everything, just not with words. His calmness became unsettling, his indifference confusing. The same people who once ignored his voice started to feel the weight of his quiet. Because when the Sigma male goes silent, it's not because he's lost, it's because he's done explaining. His absence becomes a mirror, reflecting back the truth they refuse to see. He no longer argues to be right, he simply acts in alignment with his truth. The energy he once spent defending himself is now redirected into growth, discipline, and forward motion. Every minute of silence becomes a form of emotional clarity. He understands now that peace doesn't require noise, it requires distance. He knows that people who truly see him don't need explanations, and those who demand them will never understand, no matter how much he speaks. So he lets the silence do the talking. It speaks louder than any confrontation, sharper than any reply, and longer than any apology ever could. His quiet says, "I've outgrown the need to prove myself." And once he embraces that, his power shifts completely. He becomes untouchable, calm, unreadable, and completely in control of his own narrative. Because, for the Sigma male, silence isn't avoidance, it's dominance. It's the realization that the loudest statement he can make is to say nothing at all. Disrespect or inconsistency instantly breaks his connection. The Sigma male doesn't ask for much, just honesty, respect, and consistency. But once those are broken, the connection is already dead. He won't argue, demand loyalty, or beg for decency. The moment he senses disrespect, his entire energy shifts. It's not anger that drives him, it's clarity. He instantly sees what others refuse to see. That once respect is lost, everything else becomes noise. The tone in your voice, the way you talk over him, the half-truths you try to disguise. He catches it all, and once he sees it, he can't unsee it. You'll never hear him call it out directly. He won't chase you for an explanation. Instead, his distance will start to grow quietly. The texts become shorter, the calls less frequent, and his presence colder. Not because he's punishing you, but because you've already shown him everything he needs to know. He doesn't need drama to confirm the truth. Your inconsistency did that for him. Once he realizes that loyalty isn't mutual, his emotions begin to shut down, one layer at a time. What most people don't understand is that a Sigma's respect is sacred. He doesn't give it easily, and once it's broken, there's no repairing it. To him, trust isn't about words, it's about energy. If your behavior wavers, if your actions don't match what you claim, he'll quietly step back and let the distance speak for itself. His silence becomes the consequence of your inconsistency. And that silence is far more painful than confrontation, because it leaves no door open for manipulation. The Sigma male values peace above connection. Once disrespect enters the picture, he knows the relationship has already ended, even if no one has admitted it yet. He doesn't hate you. He doesn't need closure. He simply accepts that your place in his life has expired. And from that moment on, his focus shifts completely. His mind moves forward, his energy recalibrates, and his attention returns to his mission. He nevertheless, that's the truth about the Sigma male. Once you show him you can't be trusted, you'll never see the same version of him again. He doesn't retaliate, he doesn't explain, he just disconnects completely, because for him, the absence of respect means the end of everything. His emotional withdrawal is his quiet form of self-protection. When a Sigma male starts to withdraw emotionally, it's not because he's cold or indifferent. It's because he's been stretched to his limit. He spent too long giving understanding to those who never understood him, showing patience to people who mistook it for weakness, and offering depth in a world that only wanted surface-level connection. His emotional retreat isn't revenge, it's recovery. It's the moment he realizes that his empathy has been weaponized against him, and the only way to heal is to step back and rebuild his peace in silence. You'll notice the shift, but you won't see the storm behind it. He'll still be calm, still polite, still present, but his eyes will no longer hold the same warmth. His responses will grow shorter. His attention will fade, and the invisible thread that once tied him to you will slowly dissolve. It's not sudden, it's self-defense. He's protecting the parts of himself that have been drained, the energy that's been taken for granted. He's not shutting you out. He's choosing himself for the first time in a long time. What makes this withdrawal so powerful is its quietness. There's no confrontation, no speech, no announcement, just a slow, deliberate retreat into solitude. And once he's there, he begins to heal. He recharges his focus, rebuilds his emotional boundaries, and reminds himself that not everyone deserves access to his depth. His silence becomes his sanctuary, a space where he can think clearly without the noise of manipulation or guilt. To outsiders, it may look like he's become distant or heartless, but inside, he's simply learning balance. He's replacing emotional chaos with stability, attachment with independence, and exhaustion with clarity. He knows that giving too much in the wrong direction can destroy a person's peace, and he refuses to let that happen again. By the time he returns to the world, he's no longer the same man. The emotional version of him that tolerated inconsistency is gone. In his place stands someone sharper, wiser, and calmer. Because when a Sigma male withdraws emotionally, it's not an ending, it's a reset. And when he finishes rebuilding behind those walls of silence, he comes back stronger than ever, untouchable, unbothered, and completely at peace. He walks away from control, chaos, and emotional manipulation. A Sigma male has no interest in playing emotional games. He's not drawn to chaos. He sees it as poison. While others get trapped in cycles of guilt, drama, and emotional highs and lows, he watches quietly, analyzing every move. And the moment he recognizes manipulation, the subtle guilt trips, the selective affection, the shifting energy designed to control him, he begins his quiet exit. To him, control isn't love, chaos isn't passion, manipulation isn't connection. He's seen enough to know that real peace can't coexist with instability. When the Sigma male walks away, he doesn't slam doors or leave clues. He doesn't explain why, because people who manipulate never listen, only react. So, instead of confrontation, he gives them something far more powerful: his absence. The calls go unanswered. The messages stop. The emotional hooks no longer work. The same tactics that once drew him in now fall flat because he's detached completely. He doesn't seek revenge or validation. He seeks peace. His silence becomes the one thing manipulators can't control, and that drives them mad. What they never understand is that a Sigma male's strength lies in his emotional self-control. He doesn't need attention to feel secure, and he doesn't crave connection enough to stay somewhere toxic. He'd rather walk alone in peace than remain in a relationship that drains his soul. The chaos that once surrounded him begins to collapse the moment he leaves, because his calm presence was the only thing holding it together. He walks away from anything that feels like control because he values freedom above everything. And that freedom isn't just physical, it's mental, emotional, and spiritual. The Sigma knows that no one truly wins in manipulation. Both sides lose, just at different speeds. So, he doesn't fight it. He outgrows it. His evolution is his revenge. By the time people realize what they've lost, it's already too late. He's moved on, leveled up, and built a life where peace is non-negotiable. The chaos they tried to trap him in no longer exists in his world, because he took his energy back. And once a Sigma male reclaims his peace, there's no manipulation strong enough to ever pull him back again. His peace becomes more valuable than any relationship. At some point, the Sigma male stops chasing connections and starts protecting his calm. He's been through enough to understand that peace isn't something you find in others, it's something you build within yourself. There was a time when he gave everything to relationships: effort, loyalty, understanding, forgiveness. But every time he tried to maintain peace with others, he ended up losing it within himself. That's when he realized nothing and no one is worth his inner chaos. From that day on, peace became his new definition of love. You can feel it in the way he moves now, slower, more deliberate, no longer rushing to reply, explain, or fix. He's done fighting for validation. He doesn't argue to be understood or beg for reciprocity. Instead, he observes quietly, asking one question in his mind: does this disturb my peace? If the answer is yes, he withdraws without guilt. The same man who once overgave now guards his energy like gold. His stillness is his strength, his solitude his sanctuary. People misinterpret it as detachment, but it's deeper than that. It's maturity. It's the moment a man realizes that his mental and emotional balance are priceless, and anything that costs them is too expensive to keep. He'd rather sit alone in silence than be surrounded by chaos disguised as love. He's not afraid of loneliness. He's afraid of losing himself again. So he sets boundaries not to push people away, but to protect his peace from those who don't know how to handle it. This mindset shift transforms everything. He starts attracting calm people, genuine energy, and meaningful conversations. Because peace recognizes peace. The more he values it, the less tolerance he has for drama. The old version of him that tolerated inconsistency is gone. The new version has no interest in temporary comfort. When he walks away from a relationship, it's never out of coldness, it's out of clarity. He knows that real love should feel like rest, not resistance. And once he's tasted peace, he'll never trade it for chaos again. Because for the Sigma male, peace isn't a luxury. It's his entire purpose, and the moment he protects it fully, he becomes untouchable. His absence exposes everyone's true character and intentions. When a Sigma male leaves, it's not just silence that follows, it's revelation. His absence becomes a mirror that reflects everyone's true nature. While he was around, his calm energy held things together, his patience softened conflicts, and his consistency disguised other people's chaos. But the moment he steps back, everything changes. The people who genuinely cared try to reach out, to understand, to rebuild. The ones who only valued what he gave begin to show their true colors: anger, resentment, indifference. That's the gift of his absence. It exposes truth in its rawest form. He doesn't leave to test anyone, but his silence becomes the ultimate test anyway. Suddenly, those who depended on his understanding realize how much of their peace came from his presence. The manipulators lose control, because they can't provoke a reaction from someone who's no longer there. The opportunists move on quickly, proving they were never loyal to him, only to what he provided. And the genuine ones, they feel his absence deeply, because real energy leaves a mark that can't be replaced. For this Sigma male, this revelation is confirmation. He's not looking for apologies or closure. He's watching from afar, quietly noting who fades and who remains. He learns more from distance than he ever could from conversation. People can lie with words, but they can't fake consistency once you're gone. His absence becomes the filter that separates sincerity from convenience. And here's the irony. The very people who once took him for granted start craving the stability he brought. They replay his calm tone, his quiet presence, his ability to listen without judgment. Only now, it's gone. What they feel as emptiness is actually exposure. The realization that his energy was the foundation, and without it everything falls apart. The Sigma doesn't celebrate their loss or seek validation from their regret. He's already moved forward, his peace intact, his vision clear. But deep down he knows this. Absence reveals what presence could never prove. And that's why when he walks away, he does so without anger. Because he trusts time to reveal the truth that words never could. His silence isn't punishment, it's revelation. When he walks away, it's permanent, because evolution doesn't look back. When a Sigma male walks away, it's never a temporary pause or a tactic for attention, it's final. His exits aren't emotional reactions, they're conclusions. Before he leaves, he's already replayed every moment in his mind. The patterns, the betrayals, the silence that spoke louder than words. He doesn't just walk away from people, he walks away from the version of himself that tolerated what was no longer aligned with his growth. By the time you realize he's gone, he's already transformed into someone you'll never have access to again. For the Sigma, walking away isn't running, it's rising. He understands that growth and attachment can't coexist when the connection starts costing his peace. So he lets go, not out of pride, but out of purpose. He's not trying to prove a point. He's moving toward a higher version of himself. He's learned that evolution requires solitude, and solitude requires release. Every goodbye becomes a new beginning, one that demands silence, focus, and distance from the noise that once distracted him. People often wait for him to return, thinking his silence means uncertainty. But they don't understand. The Sigma doesn't leave unless he's already made peace with his decision. Once he detaches, there's no resentment, no bitterness, just finality. The emotional attachment dissolves, and what remains is wisdom. His path forward is clean, free of drama, free of regret, because when he's done, he's done. Not out of hate, but because he's evolved beyond the need for closure. That's what makes his absence so powerful. It's not fueled by ego, but by growth. He doesn't seek revenge, explanations, or validation. He seeks alignment, and alignment rarely includes returning to what once broke his peace. Those who try to reach him again find someone they no longer recognize, calmer, quieter, untouchable. The Sigma male's walkaway is permanent because evolution doesn't revisit old lessons. Once he's grown beyond something, it loses all hold on him. He doesn't look back because he has nothing left to find there. No answers, no emotion, no attachment. Just memories that no longer move him. His silence isn't goodbye, it's graduation. Because for the Sigma male, walking away isn't the end of a chapter, it's the start of his evolution. When a Sigma male walks away, there are no warnings, no second chances, no dramatic goodbyes, just quiet evolution. He doesn't leave to prove his worth, he leaves because he's already found it. And once his peace becomes the priority, everything that doesn't align with it fades into the background. His silence isn't cold, it's closure. His absence isn't punishment, it's progress. If you've ever reached that moment where you stopped explaining, stopped chasing, and simply chose yourself, you already know what it feels like to walk away for good. That's not loss, that's power. Because the Sigma male doesn't lose people, he outgrows them. Before you go, make sure to subscribe to Ultrawise, where strength is silent, clarity is power, and evolution never looks back. And if you've watched until the end, comment "evolved mindset" below, so I'll know you're one of the few who've mastered the art of walking away in silence.